The year I moved in, my uncle shook my hand and said, "You'll have your own bathroom. The housekeeper changes the sheets on Tuesdays. If you're hungry after 8, you make your own toast." That was the extent of our emotional onboarding. He wasn't a warm man. He was a man who owned a vineyard in Napa, a flat in London, and a silence so deep you could lose yourself in it. I did lose myself in it. For a while, I learned to exist without explanation. I learned that a place setting for one every night could feel less like loneliness and more like a ceasefire. 15 years later, I stood at the back of the marble, floored library where they'd set up folding chairs for the reading of his will. The air smelled of old books and furniture polish. The handful of attendees, a business partner, a trusted groundskeeper, murmured in small clusters. My mother stood by the window. I hadn't seen her since I was 13. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair, once a wild mane of blonde, was now a stiff helmet, like ash. She wore a black dress that was too formal, too hopeful. She was scanning the room the way you scan a crowded subway car, looking for a seat, looking for an angle. Her eyes passed over me, paused, then moved on. She didn't register me as a threat. Why would she? I was just the girl she'd left behind, now a quiet woman in a dark suit. After the service, people drifted into the library for coffee. I was by the fireplace, holding a cup I wasn't drinking from. My mother approached, no hesitation, just the stride of someone who believed the floor belonged to her. "Well," she said, her voice a theatrical whisper. "Strange circumstances." She looked at a painting over the mantel. "Your uncle and I were close, you know. Before everything, he was my brother." She let the silence hang, inviting me to fill it. I didn't. I imagined he'd want to make amends for the family rift in his own way. I watched her. The performance was almost admirable. She was constructing a narrative right there, weaving herself back into the fabric of his life. She believed it. Or she believed I was stupid enough to let her get away with it. "He left you something?" I said. My voice was even. I was simply stating a fact. Her eyes flickered. A tiny hungry pulse beat in her throat. "Well, of course, sweetheart, I'm his only sibling. It's only right. We'll figure out what's fair for you, too. We're family." Family, the word sat in the air between us, ugly and misshapen. Just then the oak door opened and Mr. Harrison, the family lawyer for 40 years, hurried in. He was a slender man, always impeccably dressed, but now his tie was slightly askew and his face was pale. He looked stricken. His eyes darted around the room, landed on me, and then fixed on my mother with an expression of pure, undisguised horror. "Mrs. Vance," he said, his voice tight. He didn't approach her. He crossed the room to me, placing himself slightly between us, as if to shield me. I was told there was a disturbance. I came as quickly as I could. No one was supposed to. This was meant to be a private reading for the staff and associates first. Family is to be received separately. My mother's smile faltered. "I am family, Mr. Harrison. I came to pay my respects." Mr. Harrison looked at her, then at me. The horror on his face deepened into something else, a kind of wary pity. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a thick, cream-colored envelope. He handed it to me. "Claire," he said, his voice softening, "I am so sorry. You should not have had to deal with this alone today. I failed in my duty." My mother's smile was gone. "What is that?" I didn't open it. I knew what it was. My uncle had shown me a draft 6 months ago. On one of the last nights he was well enough to sit in his study. He'd coughed into a handkerchief and said, "This is the only family I'm interested in protecting. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." I looked at my mother. The predator's gaze was gone, replaced by a flat, panicked confusion. She was doing the math, realizing the room she was in. The man whose will she was attending hadn't been her brother for decades. He'd been my guardian. My strange, silent, fiercely loyal guardian. "There's nothing for you," I said. The words were simple. No triumph in them. Just the quiet correction of a long-standing error. There was never going to be. Mr. Harrison stepped forward. His professional composure returning. Mrs. Vance, the estate is complex, but its disposition is simple. The entirety is held in a trust. Claire is the sole beneficiary. She has been for 10 years. Perhaps it's best if you leave now. My mother looked at me. For a fleeting second, the mask slipped, and I saw the woman who had told me at 13 that I was a burden she could no longer carry. Then it was gone. She straightened her spine, lifted her chin, and walked out of the library without another word. She didn't look back. She didn't slam the door. She just disappeared into the marble silence of the hall. Mr. Harrison apologized again. Someone offered me a fresh coffee. The business partner made a quiet remark about the stock market. The room slowly exhaled and returned to its murmuring. I stayed by the fireplace, the unopened envelope in my hand. The weight of it was meaningless. The house, the vineyards, the flat in London, none of it felt like a prize. It felt like a confirmation. A receipt for 15 years of toast made after 8, of clean sheets on Tuesdays, of a silence that was never kind, but was, in the end, on my side. I looked out the window. My mother was just a small dark figure getting into a town car at the end of the long gravel drive. I watched until the car pulled away and the driveway was empty. Then I turned back to the room, set the envelope on the mantel, and picked up my cold coffee.